Good morning. Good morning. It is day 9 of Write With Me. And whew, I am tired. I am so tired. Um, I got even less sleep than I did the other night when I was really tired. So after I'm done with this, I am going back to bed. That's for sure. But I'm here, got my butt in the chair, and that's what this is all about, is making a commitment, making a habit of writing every day. This is the 30-day challenge. Today is day 9 of consecutively doing this. And I am still researching. I'm in the testimonies for Peter Crosby for the congressional hearing on the Vicksburg massacre. And so finding new things all the time, which is really great and fun and interesting for story purposes. You know, the subject matter isn't fun, but actually just seeing who all these people were that were involved. So as usual, we have two 25-minute sprints. We have a 10-minute break in between where you can ask questions. I talk about the what I've been researching and what I've discovered just in the first 25 minutes. All right, so let's get to it. right, time for the 10-minute break. So I am still in the uh, testimony from Chairman John Beard, and I don't know how much longer I have to go with this one, but they are talking about the second time that Crosby was arrested, and I believe it was after the massacre had happened, based on the dates. So I just need to, again, take some time, maybe this weekend, to really review the full timeline again and refresh my memory on some of these things. Um, but one thing that stood out to me too during this time, that um, is they made him do a second resignation, and they had locked him up in jail. Um, and it says that during that week, the resignation was read before the board. This is the second resignation. The board adjourned for an hour or two to have some consultation with the district attorney and Judge Lee and Judge Morris. I've got to find out if this is the district attorney that I also wanted to include in the story. There was a prominent um, Black district attorney in Mississippi at the time, but I don't know if he was part of Vicksburg or if he was district attorney for another city in Mississippi. So I've got to pull his information up. But when I found out about that particular person, I was like, oh, that would be so great to include him in this story. And even maybe at some point, it could even be, I don't want to say, because I'm still deciding on that. But I think it would be cool to actually have a series of regarding that particular district attorney. I understood that he traveled a lot between Mississippi, and they had a practice at some point in Chicago, and then he went back to Mississippi. So I just think that's really interesting, especially for the late 1800s, to have a Black district attorney that was pretty prominent at that time. Let's see here. So right now, it's just really a lot going back and forth of what happened, how many days did they hold Crosby after this, after the massacre happened. It seemed like he was held for quite some time. And so they are just trying to get down to the bottom of that, and why was he held for such a long time, etc. So, like I mentioned earlier, when I first started here, I'm so super tired today. But again, it's all about creating a habit and sticking with it, no matter how tired you are. Because the thing is, you can always, well, I don't say you can always, sometimes, you end up having to go to work right after this. Luckily, right now, I can actually go right back to bed when I'm done with my hour here. Um, and then, like I said, back in the day, I used to get up at 5 a.m. to write. Um, if I end up working late and or working way too late, then I would make sure I made up my hours on the weekend, because I just really had to stay disciplined, keep my head in the story, keep my head wrapped around, the characters, the world, whatever I was creating during that time. So it's interesting how the light just changed like that. So, so yeah, so that is pretty much it regarding that. Let me see anything else. But oh yeah, there's so many more people were involved, and so like I said before, I'm not going to feature every single person, but I'm taking notes on everyone that's mentioned, because I never know if they may be a part of something that's much later down the road and that I need to set up earlier. So I'm taking down all the names of the people, and in historical fiction, you don't have to be so exact. And there are many times that I won't be exact because I don't have that information. That's where creative license comes into play. But I really wanted to be as accurate as I could, especially with the people that were involved, and especially with having the resource of having their actual words said, in testimony. Um, and I just think that is such a wonderful privilege and honor to be able to um, talk about the people that actually and actually use the words that they said during the time, to hear their voice, to hear what they felt about the different situations. And I know, like, we're on um, up against being, interviewed, or because it's not really it's not a trial, but it's a hearing. And that comes with a lot of pressure, as we can see even when we watch the congressional hearings for today. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of hours. You're sitting in front of a committee of congressmen, or Congress, today's world, congressmen and congresswomen, um, and so you never know, like, if how they felt compelled or forced to have to say certain things in a certain way, especially for the Black people in particular, um, being very mindful of what they're saying, and because it was really a threat for their lives to even be bold enough and brave to, not bold but actually brave, to testify here at these hearings. And then also for the white people that commit these crimes of, killing, various people during this time. um, we don't know any secret conversations that they may have had with their colleagues, um, to make sure they're all telling the same story. Because, like I said before, I had been, reading some of the earlier testimonies when it started out, and it was just conflicting with what the summary said. With Because there are summaries that are at the top of these testimonies from both parties, from both Republican and Democrats, and their conclusion of what um, they said that happened. Their conclusion of what happened really contradicts a lot of the white testimonies. So I'm really interested in seeing how this all progressed. Because I said a lot of times in the earlier part, when I was starting with Mayor O'Leary, and then I'm blanking on the name of the person like right after that, and then there were quite a few other um, white people that were testifying, but and they were saying that, yeah, nothing really happened. People, they didn't hear about any people getting killed or anything like that, but we know now that there were a lot, and so yeah, so it's interesting dynamic, and even when I first started reading the testimonies, I thought, well, how do I want to even tell the story? Do I want to tell the story somewhat in flashbacks? But I decided not to do that as of now. Because I really wanted to be a 3-book series, and so much happened from the early 1870s up to this point, in 74. I mean, it's still early, but as far as like Peter getting elected, the other Black people getting elected, the build up to getting elected, um, and deciding to run, so there's a lot of ground to cover. So, and I can even see even doing a prequel from that too, because life was a drastic turnaround from being enslaved to not being enslaved. Um, and many people went off to look for their family members, and that I'm gonna have that as a reoccurring theme throughout, because so many people, um, their families were torn apart, and it was really, people took a major effort to find their loved ones, and so that aspect will be weaving in throughout the series. So, but I am going to get back. The timer is almost up, and then got these 25 more minutes All right. And back to it. Oh, pretty then. Like, should be. Okay, well, that is time. Hope you guys got your writing in or whatever you are working on. Hope you were able to accomplish what you wanted to accomplish today. But hey, the main thing is that you showed up, and that's key. That is the first step in all of this. I am going to conclude for today. I finished, or I still am in the same testimony that I've been working in, but it's getting so many interesting details about where conversations were held uh, and who were there and so forth like that. So it's all pretty great and fascinating. So see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is day 10. And so, yeah, let's keep it going. All right. Have a great day.